Today I will tell you a tale of this piece of furniture that I've had since I was about 22 years old, so I've had it for at least 30 years. My girlfriend, who I still have now, which also means female friend, but girlfriend is what we said back in the day, she and her boyfriend had this piece of furniture in their house for university. Supposedly, this piece of furniture came from the boyfriend's mother who had brought it from the islands. I can't remember which one, but maybe Jamaica or something like this. So, this piece of furniture was in pretty good condition when they first got it, but the boyfriend decided to take the back panel off and make it into a media center. So you can see that there are some parts missing, and that's because when it's all in the right condition, there are sides on 3 of the sides of the top. So right now, I'm trying to get the wood to rise up a little bit. I often watch YouTube videos where they put water and steam and heat on the wood, and so the gouges aren't that big. However, I did this for at least 20 minutes. I must have been doing it wrong because nothing helped. This wood, I think, is fir. It is very, very easy to make holes in. So if I were to press my fingernail in it, it would make a gouge. So if you can see here, you can see all the gouges in it. And so I want to take off the top part of the cabinet so I can sand it, and also there are old cool looking nails that are a part of it, so I take those off, and some of them are crooked, so I straighten those up to reuse. Now when I was putting this back together again, I thought that I had made the little indentions on this side, but you can see if you rewind, there were already those already. So I did not do any more damage. And I'll just tell you right now, at the very end of the video, I updated it because the first video that I made was the ASMR, which I'll have in a couple of days posted. But I wanted to make sure that the stain was 100% dry before I put books into it. So that's why there's a little bit of extra footage on this one that you won't see in a couple of days. The next one goes up. So here I'm showing you the nails. They were very rusty, but they're so cool. So I cleaned them off with a sandpaper and made them all shiny again. And so I reused them all. Except for one, actually. I couldn't figure out where it went. I also used some glue to help keep these attached to the top, whereas before there wasn't any, and it's just so old. Now, for those of you who are interested, you might see a tattoo on my left hand, and I have no problem with tattoos. However, I put the tattoo in on my skin just for fun. I was with my friends. Actually, the friend Michelle, hi Michelle, who had this piece of furniture. I probably shouldn't say her name, huh? Oh well, sorry. Her daughter and I were putting on tattoos, so I thought it was so much fun. Anyway, so it comes off easily. So here's my new ServPrep sander. I got it in the mail and I was so excited. Also, if you watch videos salvaged by Kate Scott, I ordered exactly what she put on her link, and I used her link, so I'm not sure if she gets a percentage or whatever. So if you know her, let her know that I went through hers. Yes, she's excellent. So I'm now reading the directions on which pad to use for the sandpaper. And for this piece right here, you get a 10% discount if you go through a link. Since I'm brand new, I have no links. But if you go on anybody else who flips furniture, they mostly have links, so you can save about 10%, which comes out to be about $64. This, what you see right here for a sander, was about $655. I also purchased the HVAC system that takes all of the sanded up wood, what's it called? Dust particles. However, they were back ordered. So that's why if you see any of the sand did off wood particles. Leave in description down below what those are called. I can't think right now. They aren't going to be here for another month or so, and I just couldn't wait. Now I'm using 100 grit sandpaper on this, and oh my goodness, it worked so well. It is so light. My father's sanders are so heavy and cumbersome. It was so easy. I did have to read the directions on how to start it because it starts out with a red light going on, and then you have to push the power button and then it turns on. No big deal. Another video I watched is when people put the extra sanded off wood with glue to help out with big, marks that are gouges and things like that. Well, I did do this as I didn't show the whole thing, but you'll see what it looks like in a couple of minutes. I did do it, and I was a little bit afraid because this wood was so fragile that I didn't want to sand it down to nothing. And because I was keeping this furniture for my family, I said, you know me, perfect schmurfect, I'm not selling this. It's better than it was. To me, at least. However, I would still give this a 5 out of 10. If I would do it all over again, I probably would have kept it closer to the original color, which is a lot lighter than what I stained it. You can see on the top right back there what it looked like with the glue and the sawdust. That's the word I'm thinking of. Is that what it's called? Yeah, sawdust. So, sanding this was a dream. If you are a person who does a lot of work, I would highly suggest this ServPrep sander. Oh my goodness. So here you can see the top of it. That's dried glue with the sandpaper, sawdust. And then here's the inside. Now, I don't know why there's a piece of wood on the left-hand side. That piece of wood I just took out was in there. I don't know why. I chose not to put the piece of wood on the back to make it all solid. And the reason for that is because my parents are not very strong anymore. My dad's 90 and my mom is 82. And they really can't help me move furniture around. Here I'm putting quick wood into the holes, which, oh my gosh, also works really well. It does say in the directions to use gloves, but if you've ever seen me and my fat little fingers, it is so difficult for me to use gloves and use this stuff. And I'm past the childbearing age and I have no fear of death, so if chemicals get in me, I wear sunscreen too, and that's a bunch of chemicals. So I'm not really sure how dangerous it is, but the directions say to wear gloves. I am now wearing, these are extra large gloves that my dad had. I ran out of my small gloves, and I just don't know what to do because all the gloves don't fit me well. So I don't know how surgeons do it. How do surgeons wear gloves that have like a half an inch of glove at the ends? Really? Glove people? Do better. So this color is Varathane Mahogany Gel Stain. And if I can, I love gel stain. It's my number one thing to do. And you'll see later on I run out of it. And because my dad has a lot of stuff, I thought to myself, hey, Paula, just get rid of all the stuff. So that's why this is not a professionally done flip. This is just using up stuff that was in the garage or the basement, and hopefully it's in better condition than it was. So here I'm taking off this weird piece of wood. Not sure why it's there. Yeah, I tried to take out the nails, but they wouldn't come out. I don't need that piece of paper. Now I'm taking all of the sawdust and there is a big gouge in the front of the bottom separator part. So I sanded that down and it didn't look so bad. And once I stained it, it was great. So anyway, I kept the hole because I'm putting in the living room. There'll be a whole bunch of books. And if I want to carry this myself, it's so much easier if I have the hand area in the back to pick it up. All right, so here is the Varathane gel that I like to use. And this brush that I am using right now, I have used that for the last 2-3 months now. All I do is I use it for stain. I keep it in one of the fingers of the glove. So when I'm done, I kind of roll it around to fit into a finger of a glove. I then make it tight. Oh my goodness. And then I use it again on a similar colored gel, and it works like a charm. I just hate spending money on brushes that you throw away. So part of that's my father as well. When I was younger, I would use his brushes and then I wouldn't clean them very well. And I thought, who cares? I'll just throw it away and use a new one. And my father, being a depression age person, was like, no, you got to clean that up. So I have no problem cleaning up brushes. And with the ones with like this, it's so easy to keep them. Now, I know most of you also know that you can put roller brushes in like a Ziploc baggie, put it in the freezer, I think, like for a couple of days use. I was over at Lowe's the other day, and the guy was talking in the paint section when I was getting some paints for my kitchen to a lady that rollers you really shouldn't clean out and reuse. Really? I've never heard that before. So I went to Lowe's. I don't know why I go there more often than Home Depot. It's maybe a little bit closer, and I like the people who work there. So yeah, I was listening to the paint guy, and I got some cheap mist-tinted wood. And so not wood, paints for my kitchen. So if you ever need to do a project, always look in the mist-tinted areas. And he told me something interesting. If you go to one of those stores and you get paint and they don't want you then to come back the next day to have a discount, right? So what they will do is add either white or black to the paint so the color won't be the exact same color that you purchased. Oh, wow, I was shocked. So here I am staining the inside. And I don't hate paint or anything, but for wood that's real wood, I love stain. I love it. It's so easy. I think it looks nice, but then again, I have an old home. And you'll see part of my living room in the end of the video. Now, I'm not sure should have, but I think many people would have taken off all the hardware, but I didn't. So you can see I'm sitting on the floor. I was looking around for something to sit on, but even though I'm a 53-year-old chubby lady, I do yoga, so it's pretty easy for me to get up and around, so no problem with that. Yeah, I love this color. So lately, I've been listening on my podcasts, and the woman who I listened to was talking about the difference between relatives and family, which I thought was really interesting. And she talks about that, you're born into a family. Those people are your relatives. Some of those people are wonderful and great and supportive and kind, and some of those people might be destructive or mean or hateful or take advantage of you. So she always talks about, you have to decide what's best for you. How are you going to be healthy? And it was really interesting because I've had some friends lately who are having some struggles with their relatives, and one of my girlfriends sent me a little article about platonic love. So people who you don't love as a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but you love them in a different way. And it's so important to have friends who are somebody that you love platonically, because they can be there for you even if you don't have relatives that are there for you. So I'm lucky. I have one sister who has been really helpful when I was ill. She came all the way from Sweden to the UAE where I was living to help take care of me for about 2 weeks after my surgery. And I've got really good girlfriends from university that I still spend time with today, and that's more than 30 years ago. It's amazing. I've traveled all over the world, and there are many people who, since 2000, I still talk to. And yeah, I have lots of people. And so it's also, I tell people that are my family that, don't worry about if you get old and can't afford a house, you can stay with me for cheap rent. That's not really a joke. It's important. Think about, who do you want to live with when you grow up? If you don't have a husband or a wife or somebody who you love that you live with, who are you going to live with? So part of my goal is, once my parents no longer live at the house, I want to rent out rooms to women of a certain age. And that would mean people about my age, 50 years old, who don't really want to live alone, but they don't want to get remarried or live with somebody not being married. So yeah, I think there's enough people. So here's the gel stain that I was using in walnut. And I used it all up before I finished it. Oh, I was so annoyed. So here now I'm opening up a new gel stain, and this one, I'm sorry. I was using mahogany. This is the walnut. And so I was like, oh, great, I don't have to go buy anything. So I looked at it, and it looked kind of stiff inside, like it wasn't moving. But gel stain can often be like that. So I get the piece of wood to stir it, and it's like, oh no, this is totally hard as a rock. There's a little bit of moisture coming out, but there's no way to stir it in, and it's basically just not usable anymore. Now, there is a hazardous waste place that you can bring paints and things like this to, and the woman who worked there told me just to have them dry these out and then put them in your regular garbage. So that's what she said. That's what I'm doing right here, making sure everything's all dried out. So next one I try is this one, and it's a gel stain, but it really seemed more like wood. So I'm trying to open this up, and I'm like, what the heck? What devil put this back together again? So I'm trying to open this, trying to open it. I went to my father, he couldn't open it. So then I thought to myself, okay, I'll use this. To use all of my strength. And I think maybe in the past somebody else had used it because there was an indention. Now I'll just ruin this for you. I did not open it like this. I actually got a knife and went all the way around the inside and loosened it up. And finally I did use this. I really like Minwax the most for gel stains. The Varathane one is pretty good. This one I thought was really odd, like paint. So you let me know. Anyway, so now I'm getting all of the dust off, and the little piece of white on the left-hand side is where I put the Quickwood. Once again, I love Quickwood. It works so well, except for I know you're supposed to wear gloves with it, and I don't because I'm very naughty. So you can see here, it kind of looks like paint, don't you think? But you do wipe it off. But I just wonder, why do they make it with this formula? Maybe it's better for the environment or something, I don't know. And there was a video that I couldn't find. There's a little locking mechanism. When I took it off, it was filled with dirt. Oh, it was amazing. So I wonder how long that dirt's been in there. So if I was a scientist, I would have put it under a microscope and figured out, what was in there, but it could have been a really cool story. But it was filled with dirt, so I cleaned it all out. And now here I am removing all of the excess stain. Yeah. So family and relatives. And it's so important. And just because somebody's a relative doesn't really mean they're family. I was also listening to a story about, not to be negative or anything, about family members who are mildly abusive. So if you've got family members who treat you badly, think about how much time you want to spend with them or not at all. Or if you have a spouse, or even if you have friends who aren't so nice to you, it's not worth it. You should be treated kindly, and you should treat other people kindly. And if everyone did that, then what a lovely place we would live in. And I'm not trying to be Pollyanna. I'm just thinking what you put out there is oftentimes what you get back. And if you're not getting it back, then you need to think about who you're hanging out with. Oh yeah, okay, so now I found some top coats. And guess what? It's as hard as a rock. You're going to see the top. There we go. So here I found it. And I was like, oh, it looks so good. It's supposed to, you put it on one time and then it just levels itself out. This was as hard as frozen ice. Hard as ice. Yeah, it was so dry. So bad. So that's going out with the other one. And it's already dried. I mean, there's no liquid in that at all. So out it goes to go in the garbage. Now, the one that I'm touching right now did have a tiny bit of moisture, but since the garbage went out just yesterday, there's not much in here. So I figured it will have like week 2 dry, but it was almost all dry anyway. So bad. If you're wondering what that big piece of wood in the garage is, that's so when we drive the minivan in, it hits that. And here is the third version that I had. This is actually for outdoor decking. And once again, trying to use up stuff. And I thought to myself, well, if it's for outdoor decking and it's supposed to be waterproof and all these things, then I bet it would be okay for indoor use as well. You let me know in the comments down below how wrong I am. So I opened it up, and this was supposed to be clear. And there was a piece of dried stuff right there. It did not look clear, but I did mix it up a little bit, and I put some on the top of the cabinet. And then it looked like water, and I was just like, yeah, it's probably not a really good idea, so I wiped it all off. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll see that I clamped the top parts together because they were still loose, and I put glue in there to keep them together. So I used 2 clamps to make it bigger than just the one by itself. I love that little latch. It's so cute. So here's the support to keep those together. Now I brought this into the living room, and the reason why it's okay here is that this sliding door to the left-hand side, my mother never likes it open, so it's no big deal if this is right here. So you can see there are different colors of the stain, but all in all, it's fine with me. It's not perfect. I'd say it's a 5 out of 10, but I can make it look better. And so you'll see that after this little subscribe to my channel, it dried downstairs. So this is how it used to look in the living room. My mom has a whole bunch of bookcases. And then here, this is in the corner. So I went to Trader Joe's and I bought a plant for $12. I used my little side table that I redid. And then I put all of the books in the cabinet. I personally don't like it when all of the books are visible. However, some people love that. So here's what it looks like now in the corner with a lovely ficus plant that needs very little sunshine. And I'm very happy. So thanks for watching and subscribe.